Hello, hello. Let me know if you can see and hear me okay. This is going to be a group energy healing where I heal 137 people in 15 different countries. And the theme of this healing and all the healings this month is enjoy simple pleasures, including but definitely not limited to sexuality and love life. And it's going to be really good. I'm excited. I'm very, very prepared and excited. I'm just waiting for confirmation that everything is going well with the stream. All right. Yay. Okay, so discussing. Get right into it. Oh, please give this a thumbs up if you will. I'll give you a thumbs up. There you go. There's your thumbs up. If you could give me one too. You don't have to, but it does help. Be nice. Okay. Okay, so overviewing the theme and the techniques. So enjoy simple pleasures, smell the roses. It's one of those things that is easier said than done in a way. Like, of course, everyone wants to enjoy little moments in their life and in their day, you know, want to get more enjoyment out of, you know, seeing nature and feeling pleasant temperatures and, you know, being around people and animals that you care about and, you know, giving yourself nice little self-healing things. And, you know, everyone wants to be able to do that on a daily basis in their real life. But wanting it isn't enough. So what we're aiming for is all the rest that you would need in order to make a lot of progress with that and be much more likely to enjoy simple pleasures in your daily real life now, not someday when all the problems are solved and all the dragons are slain. So why is it not as simple as it sounds? Well, the one main way that we're going to address today and possibly the rest of this set of 3 healings. This month, every month it's a set of 3 healings and then there's a set of 2 healings. So the set of 3 healings, that's the first of the 3. That's what we're doing right now. But all this month, all those 5 healings, the set of 3 and the set of 2, they have this theme: enjoy simple pleasures, including but not limited to love life and sexuality. Thank you for my confirmation. Okay, so what does it take beyond just saying, yeah, that's a good concept, I want to enjoy simple pleasures in my daily life? Well, one big thing I noticed is being able to adjust to the present. I was looking at all sorts of different people and reading as I prepare for this healing in this month of healings, and being able to adjust to the present. What is optimal? What's the optimal way for you to be at this time? Because situations are always changing in your life and everybody's life, and people around you are always changing. And so being able to adjust and adapt so that you can feel good and happy and have enough strength and stability to enjoy simple pleasures is a thing. And so that's a thing that we're going to work today and probably this whole set, but we'll see. But So, and then there's another level of that too, but I'm just going to take things one step at a time. So this level I'm talking about, adjusting to the present, like I'm looking at one woman and she's just sample, client, one of the people I'm healing, that I'll be healing. She adjusted to how she needed to be 10 years ago. And ever since then, in some ways, she hasn't made any significant shifts to her energy and how she thinks and what she does. And so there's a way in which she's kind of like a three-legged table, like a little wobbly, because she just, like, everything just seems like a little too puzzling, a little too, fast moving. She hasn't adjusted to the present. And like a metaphor that's not about a person to explain it is like we have gates on our property, it's not it's a quarter-acre property that we have. And so the house is kind of like in the middle, and there's the front yard and the backyard, and then there's little small side yard, right? And so there's a fence, there's like a gate, and fence on each side yard so that you can't just walk from the front of the house to the back of the house without, passing through a gate, for security reasons, right? So they're just wood gates, it's not like a big deal. But if you don't open the gate for a while, it's actually not that easy to open the gate. Because the wood swells up and expands like in the winter months because it rains constantly here for like half the year, seemingly. And so the wood swells up. So then the gate, like, there's just no room to open. Plus, like, everything grows so fast here, probably because of all the rain. And so, weeds grow up on either side of the door of the gate, and then dirt piles up, underneath, and so it's quite a process to be able to dig out and open your darn gate. You would think, that wouldn't be the case, but it is, right? So adjusting to the present can mean a lot of unblocking, right? So just like I have to unblock our gates, and I have to close it in a certain way so that I know that when it swells up, I'll still be able to open it. Someday we could have a gate that's better, that has more room for the swelling that happens every year here, but we don't right now. So anyway, so there's a process, to adjust to the present, right? The gate just doesn't swing open easy peasy no matter what season it is, right? So that's the thing, like this with this client, why hasn't she adjusted to the present? Why is certain levels of her existence just like stuck 10 years ago? Well, because it took a lot for her to get into the present 10 years ago, and she figured, all right, this is it. This is the way. So how does she get from 10 years ago to now, as far as like the way she is? Well, we don't have to like microanalyze, the different ways that she's doing things that worked back then that don't work now. We just look at the energy blocks in the way of her adjusting. Like we can look at it like a ship direction, which we do sometimes. It's like, you're a ship and you're traveling in a certain direction, right? On this open waters. And so like say this is the optimal direction for you to be traveling right now with your ship, and I mean, it would be this way, but let's say you're looking at it so the water's like here, right? So you're traveling here. That's the optimal direction, but you're traveling this direction on these deeper levels because, whatever time period that part of you is stuck back in, that was the best way to do it. But things have changed. You've changed, people around you have changed, circumstances have changed, situations have changed. So it's not super hard, but you just clear a bunch of energy blocks so that you can adjust to the present. So you can be the optimal way that you would ideally want to be now in the present. And I noticed this with people, I mean, this would help anybody, but I especially notice it with people like who need to do bigger shifts, you know, handle bigger stresses. They have busier lives or whatever. It's like you need any advantage you can get. And so any extra stability, any simplicity that you can, you know, add, right? And so this is a big way to get more simplicity, because when you adjust and you clear those blocks, then it's like a part of you is no longer confused. Part of you is like, oh, you know, and you're adapting to the way things are now. Like another example that's not a person for this adjusting to the present, being able to adapt, is weeds outside. I mean, like, I have a lot of weeds, you know, in my property. You know, it's like a quarter acre of weeds almost. Not exactly, but you know, it feels that way for sure. The backyard is more full of weeds than the front yard, because that's the garden in the front yard, and it's public, and I put a lot of work into the garden. Well, not as much as I could. But anyway, so there are a ton of weeds in the front, but way more in the back. But the thing is, some of these weeds I actually admire because they're so tough and they adapt, and they just, you know, they're not stressed. They can handle anything. They can handle the heat, the sun, the lack of water, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, they have adapted and they are freaking living their best lives. So that's the thing. If we can adapt, we can be like weeds and live our best life. You know, we can just be like, yeah, I'm here and I've adapted. So, and it doesn't take a lot, you know. It's one of those things where it's a lot more complex to explain and understand than to just do. So it's a thing we'll be doing, is, you know, adjusting to the present. And we'll do that by clearing blocks, you know, double checking with the ship direction thing, and also some flower healing to nourish, you know, in custom ways so that you can adjust well to the present. So then the deeper way to adjusting to the present is adjusting to this lifetime. Like, I think with a lot of people, there are things that you're not 100% okay with about this lifetime. You know, like maybe you're totally cool with the dad you picked, but you're really still not totally cool with the mom that you picked for this lifetime. Or maybe, you know, one of the siblings that was older than you, so you essentially like knew what you were getting into because they were already in the family, and you're really not okay with that sibling. You know, like you have no affinity for them, they weren't nice to you, they don't like you, you know, da, da, da. You know, so adjusting to this lifetime is a thing too, which we're gonna do, and that will be a multi-part thing, just because it's easy, but it's like you kind of need to do it again and again just to kind of, you know, be incremental with it, you know. But again, it's not hard. You're just helping the part of you that can't accept that you picked that father, or you can't accept that you picked that, you know, whatever major life event. Because a lot of the major life events are not, you know, horrible accidents. They were pre-planned. Not all of them, but a lot of the big ones were pre-planned, like by you and the angels before the life started, you know, as part of your growth and learning and yada, yada, yada. You know, to make you stronger and more fabulous in the end, ultimately. But, you know, there might be a part of you that was like, no, that part I don't agree with. That part of my life I don't agree with. And that part of you could have stayed out of the lifetime the whole time, which we usually don't work on. We work on parts of you that check out during the lifetime, like, okay, this is too much, I'm out of here, right? And so we definitely work on healing those far off parts of you, and, you know, so that those parts of you are like, okay, fine, I'm coming back now, I'm okay, you know? But this is like a part of you that completely opted out, like, no, those parents, I don't sign on to that. But the rest of you was like, yeah, I get it. I get why it's gonna, you know, work well for this lifetime, you know. So it's probably not a big part of you, maybe like up to 20% of you, but still, that's a lot. You know, that's a lot of strength and resilience and, you know, immune system help and boundaries help that you could benefit from, you know, if you can, you know, help that 20% of you, just up to 20% of you, just like get a grip and clear the blocks so that that part of you can come in and help out, for gosh sakes. You know, join the team. So that's adjusting to this lifetime, which is pretty easy to do. You know, it's just healing those parts of you, clearing blocks, blah, 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 you know. And then it's gradual. That part of your energy, you know, comes in more and more. The thing is, you know, I've done this healing on myself probably a lot of times on the astral, subconsciously in my sleep, and then also consciously. I did the key parts of it on myself. And, you know, one of my parents was really not okay with me bringing in that extra 20%. My parents are not the nicest people. Well, that's sort of an imprecise way to say it. We're very different spiritual ages, so we don't really get each other, you know? Like, I'm not the daughter that they thought they were getting. I am the daughter they chose, but I'm not the daughter that consciously they would have wanted. How about that? Consciously. So we don't even have any conscious level communication. They know I exist. They've found my website, whatever, you know, they know I exist, but that's it, consciously. So that's the thing. I don't want people to have a backlash experience because you're bringing in that extra 20% of yourself, or, you know, up to 20% of yourself gradually. So there's a cool thing that's new, super simple though, of course. All the coolest things are pretty simple, I think, with spirituality. But anyway, so processing flowers. So they're energy healing flowers, you know, like we do all the time, made up of universal healing energy, but they're tuned to a certain vibration that you would need. You double check by your angels, yada, yada. But they're processing flowers. They help you process. And you can make them for your backlash people and have your angels double, triple check them, and then put them at a respectful distance, you know, away from the front of their auras so that they see them, but they don't feel pressured to take them. And that can really help them to process this incredibly large and significant shift that you're making, which is very gentle, really. If you don't get any backlash, it's a cool shift because all of a sudden you have more strength, more presence, you know, not a bad thing at all. It's like, yes, please, you know, but so anyway, processing flowers. So, and we'll do processing flowers for ourselves too, to help you adjust to your life and the present and, you know, all that. But I think the backlash people, the setback people in your life, which are people that have shown themselves to be not okay with your growth and progress by throwing energy at you when you do try to grow and progress. I think they need the backlash flowers much more, and you need them to have them much more than you need them for yourself. But we'll do both. Backlash flower, processing flowers for yourself, and processing flowers for your backlash. So, and then there's some other stuff that I want to get to. Like I've been noticing, you know, good karma windows in the back of your astral body aura. They're triple frame windows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And sometimes you can have a couple that are busted. And so a lot of foreign energy goes in and then impacts those chakras a lot. So sometimes if people have persistent anxiety, they're missing, you know, the repair and of their good karma windows. And so it's sort of like a backdoor entrance for a lot of invasive energy, and it's freaking out their lower chakras maybe. Or if a whole bunch of their good karma windows are screwed, then it could be freaking out upper and lower chakras. So even if your stuff is all repaired, if you have these sort of backdoors damaged, then it's easy for invasive energy to get in, right? So I've been noticing that as more of a cool way to fix a whole lot really fast in your space is just to double check good karma windows and make sure, you know, bad shit is not getting in. Basically, you know, like only good stuff. They have a function, you know, they let in good stuff, like a slight energy that's uplifting from the moon and the stars, and also good karma from the universe. So they have a function, but it can go really bad, you know, if they get all damaged. So I've been noticing that. So I think just as like lately, I may not have talked about it and emphasized it much, but lately, let me fix my camera focus. Yeah. Lately, I've been doing more of like a gold force field around the major chakras, like just emphasizing that and really strengthening that natural gold force field around all the major chakras. And I think that has helped people get less chakra damage, the stronger that gold force field is around it's like a gold buffer zone just for the major chakras. But I want to do that, just enhance the gold force field around the good karma windows. I think that could help a lot, make them less easily damaged when people throw energy. And I want to strengthen the natural gold force field around GV and CV meridians. Because I feel like, I mean, yeah, we could strengthen the gold force field around all the meridians, but I think that GV and CV have this role of like, you know, defender, helper, manager. And so I think that is a good place to focus, you know, and get the gold force field around GV and the gold force field around CV meridian to like really beef up, so that then we can see like effects of that. So that's it, strengthening the gold force field around the good karma windows and also around GV and CV meridians of the physical body, which are traditional Chinese medicine meridians. And then there's some maybe list, maybe pile cool stuff, but I'm not sure that it'll be necessary in this healing, so I'm not going to mention it. So I hope that makes sense. So now I'm going to check some chat comments. I'm going to step off camera for a second to get a tissue though. Hold on, I'll be right back. Yeah. Wait, I'm back. All right. So I'm going to check chat comments. But if any of them are kind of bigger, I'll get back to them. Okay, checking chat comments. Hi Janet, you can see and hear you from Las Vegas with a 105-degree Fahrenheit temperature. Wow, high of 112. Sucks. We're starting a heat wave as well over here. Today is like day 1. And supposedly, basically throughout the triplet set, it'll be like insanely hot over here, which, it is what it is. So for my non-US clients that are on Celsius and not Fahrenheit, 100 degrees Fahrenheit, you guys may know this already, but it looks like it's about 37 degrees Celsius. So over that, significantly over that in Las Vegas right now. Stay cool. Hello, Janet. Can see and hear you. I deeply resonate with your logic for the theme and feel it is important to adjust appropriately. Well, cool. Glad it made sense. Hey, Janet, we can see and hear you in Chicago, 83 Fahrenheit and sunny. Yeah. That might be our high for today. I hope not. I hope it's cooler than that, but someone says 36 centigrade at night, super hot plus high humidity. Yeah, that's not cool at all. We do cool down over here in the Pacific Northwest. The Pacific Northwest is one of the most mild temperature places in the whole country, by the way. I didn't used to want to say anything positive about the Pacific Northwest because I was like paranoid everyone's going to move here, but I think everyone's going to move here anyway. So whatever. No sense in keeping secrets. But anyway, but we do cool down at night here. Like I regularly have to like use a hoodie, even like maybe a scarf if I'll go out late at night or early in the morning, with our dog. So, but whatever. The description about being stuck 10 years ago really resonates with me. I'm trying to make a big shift with moving and I've been struggling. Excited to work this. Yeah. Yeah, like for me, in some ways I was stuck 7 years ago. And we've been here in Washington State for 8 years, but I think, we were here for a year and I just like kind of finally got into the groove of like, cause it was a big shift coming here. We brought 7 animals cross country to get here. There's a video of it on YouTube actually. My husband edited together like a half-hour video about our cross-country trip. If you want to watch it, it's on this separate YouTube channel called Janet's Pineapple Time, which you're welcome to check out if you want. But anyway, so I was stuck 7 years ago. I must have just, finally adjusted to our new lifestyle. We were in a rental house, which we'd never been in our own house before. And we were in a rental house and not this house, this one we own, but that one we stayed in for like two years before we bought this, we moved here. But so anyway, somehow I just was like, okay, I got this, and I had adjusted finally to our new life in Washington State in that rental house. And part of me just was like, okay, I got it. And I didn't mean to get stuck that way, but I did. So then when I looked at it, like, okay, what part of me is stuck, a certain number of years ago? That was the time period, it was like 7 years. And then, okay, that's why, that's, so you don't have to know that. It's just kind of interesting. Like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So then, you just got to clear enough blocks so that that part of you, like, you don't stay that way. You adapt and you realize like, oh, this is the present situation. So an extra example of the theme and adjusting to the present is kind of a political one involving the US. So maybe I'll lose 1 or 2 people if our political views are so different that it's too triggering for you. So if so, I apologize. But for I think most of you, my political views are not so different than yours. So it could be a very helpful example. So I'm just going to go ahead. So the Bidens, like President Biden is the current US president, his wife, Jill Biden, Dr. Jill Biden. Apparently, if news reports are to be believed, she's kind of very much in this role of like protecting him and encouraging him and being like, oh, you did great, and he recently did a debate with Trump, a presidential campaign debate, their first one of this campaign season. And I saw parts of it live. And my personal perception as I was watching it is, wow, he really does have cognitive decline. And I never thought that was true. I had heard that, but I thought it was just, the other political party making stuff up and exaggerating, because sometimes they project and it's like, if they're doing something, they're like, no, you're doing it. So I just thought they're making it up. It's just a bunch of like cleverly edited video or something. But there I was, my husband and I were watching the debate live, and we saw in our personal opinions, we're like, holy shit, he really does have cognitive decline. Meaning, when you age, sometimes, your brain function, not just normal aging, but like, I forget what it's called, but, there's like a medical thing going on with him. And so it's not just like the stuttering or, stress or whatever, it was like something really significant at certain parts of the debate. But a lot of people, what I'm most interested in is, will he adjust to the president? Will his wife adjust to the president? Because apparently his wife is his number one advisor. And if she thinks he should just, not listen to the naysayers and keep running, he will, And so I was looking at her and him, and, I think now they're adjusting to the present. Very recently, but I think that they were stuck, 5 years ago, 4 years ago with like, okay, we're going to, beat Trump. We're going to save the country. We're going to save democracy. We're going to save, human rights in this country and help human rights in the world. And so they're in that mode. And so they feel like, oh, it's their personal job. Joe Biden should personally be president to accomplish this, right? And so they're not really seeing like that, okay, wow, this is like progressing his mental state, and this is a real thing. And, everyone sees it, even if you don't. And therefore it's going to really affect election results. And so anyway, it's like they hadn't adjusted to the present, right? They were in that mode of like, this is what we're going to do. And so even though present things changed, his medical state changed, cognitive functioning's changed, different political events changed, they didn't adapt to that. Even though to the outside observer, it's like, are you kidding me? Like, what? How could you keep this from the public, from your party, from whatever? So it's not always as globally consequential. If I don't adjust to the present, it's not going to affect national politics. But I just think it's a really public example of, can you adjust to the present? Or are you trapped in an old mindset? And, a lot of the being trapped in an old mindset, you don't know consciously what it is, and a lot of us trapped in an old mindset, we don't have, the national press and social media pointing it out to us like the Bidens do, which, has its pluses and minuses, but we don't, if I'm stuck 7 years ago, nobody's going to really point it out to me probably, my husband's too nice and too smart to do it. But the point is, through these techniques, you don't have to know exactly if you're stuck 10 years ago or 20 years ago, because some of my clients, they are stuck 20 years ago, significant parts of their sort of how they are. It's like it worked, 12 years ago, 15 years ago, 12 years ago, 10 years ago, and they just haven't, that it's like like my gates, you know, the side gates. It's like the weeds and the dirt built up and they just kind of stayed that way. So anyway, there's that little extra discussion on the theme. Someone says, weeds are so pretty to me, and I get pretty sad when I see people pull them out. Yeah, it's complicated. Some weeds I like and I respect, and some weeds I do not like and I do not respect, and I'm very targeted on those ones. Like there's this one, it's called bittercress, and once the seeds are ready, it like they explode and go everywhere, including in your eyes if you're not ready for it. If you disturb the weed at all, like whoosh, it's like psycho. All these little seeds go everywhere. And so it's like if you let the weed go to that state, it's like you have to disarm a bomb to like get it, you know, out of the ground into the bucket without like spreading like hundreds of seeds of that weed. So that weed is not cool with me. And I worked to pull up all of that weed in the front yard and backyard that I could find before it got to the state where it had seeds. You know, fortunately it has these really obvious flowers. They're teeny, but they stick up on these stalks. So it's like, aha, aha, aha. So I got them all. I got most of them, you know, but that weed is not cool in my book. There are two weeds in the backyard now that are very cool in my book. One of them is clover, which totally helps the soil. It, you know, adds nitrogen to the soil. So clover is a great weed for me. And this other one, I don't know what it's called. It looks like dandelion, but it's not at all dandelion. It's so much easier to pull up. Like if the ground is a little moist, you can get all the roots, no problem. It's no big deal. And the leaves kind of cover up a lot of the soil. So it's kind of like a natural mulch, and it keeps the other weeds out of the way. So, and it has this really tall, like flower stalk, and like this little, like tiny mini dandelion flower, like about the half size of a dandelion. So that weed is totally okay in my book because it would be easy to pull up and get all of it if I wanted to. So I feel like that's a polite weed. But anyway, okay. So that's total sidebar. Hi from Chicago. Hello to you. Hello from, and you're saying your family names on vacation in Palm Springs. Well, good. I hope you have a great time. It's a good theme to work while you're on vacation. Wow, just a couple of days ago, I was working my inability to accept my parents. Isn't that interesting? Well, yeah. I mean, it's not accidental. The theme gets worked ahead of time if you want. You know, optionally, you can opt in, and the angels help you ahead of time with the themes that are coming up in the healing sets. So yeah, not accidental. Sim says, hi, Janet. Thank you for healing me and my spouse. Yes, my pleasure. Hi from Chicago too. Many processing hours lately when I'm not doing anything. Processing flowers definitely needed for me and others. Yes. Looking forward to this healing. Thank you. Been recently divorced. I've had a hard time adjusting to my present. Yeah. And my parents being in their mid 80s, definitely not dealing with their present. Or they're not dealing with their present. Yeah. Yeah. So it's a good thing to work. Yeah. Cool. Yay. What a great time for healing. All right. So we will do the 3 minutes of quiet, and then where I finish my prep and I start the healing in silence. And then for the rest of the time, I will talk out loud and narrate what I'm doing as I do it. So if you wanted to, you could use it as an all levels self-healing walkthrough and heal yourself as you listen. But you don't have to. You can just listen. Either way. And later within a day, there will be chapter titles that I'll put, you know, timestamps and chapter titles so that you can just scroll through and then click on one of the chapter titles and they all come up on the side, and then you jump around to a section you like better. All right. Okay, thank you for waiting. So let's do grounding. Recreate both your groundings, astral body grounding and physical body grounding. Make them both wide as all your auras. So if you were to spread out your arm out there, make both your groundings that wide and all the way down to the core of the earth that wide. So wide in front of you, behind you, all around you, all the way down. Because the point is, you want to let your auras expand as much as they need to, and you want them to be able to release as well as possible. So having nice wide grounding helps with that. And bring up your grounding high as your third chakra also can help with that. For me, my third chakra, I like it to be right at my solar plexus, at where just below the sternum bone, where that ends right there. That's where I like my third chakra. Although I have become aware that some people like their third chakra much lower, but for me, I like running a lot. I just prefer it this way. Some people like it in between, like where you're like halfway between where your belly button is and your solar plexus is, right there. But for me, that's doesn't feel powerful. So anyway, so bring your grounding as high as your third chakra, both your groundings up as high as your third chakra, and just release, let go. Use your grounding like a giant waterfall to allow you to release whatever you need to release. And of course, you're bringing up earth energy through both groundings as well. Okay. And then you can have a copy of both groundings out in front of you and comb through them with gold light from your hands. You have a big hand chakra in each palm of your hand, and then a fingertip chakra in each fingertip. So just unblock those with gold light from your hands. Well, set those chakras to be a metallic gold color, your hand chakra and your fingertip chakra. So this is an example of metallic gold color. And just set them with your intention to be that color, just these chakras, not all your chakras. So that way, as they spin, they generate energy at that vibration. Gold, metallic gold. Why? Because it's fast moving, but not too fast moving. Like, in my opinion, white is too fast moving. It would pop you out too often. So gold is really good for repair, unblock, all the healing that you might want to do in your lifetime. So use gold light, wash out your grounding. Find blocks that you have and just melt them away with gold light. Blocks in your grounding. You can just kind of, like you're sweeping a floor, you sweep all the blocks into one place and then just focus the gold light on it. That melts away. Sweep all the blocks into one spot. Focus all your gold light right there so it all melts away. Indie grounding stands for independent grounding, and so that would be you check that outer surface of both groundings all the way down to the core of the earth, and you melt away with gold light from your hands. You melt away any attachments to other people's grounding, because that messes up the whole point of it for both of you. So just melt away any connections to other people's grounding so that their grounding is independent, your grounding is independent. Even if it's a young child's grounding, they're going to be much more stable and not drive you crazy if their grounding goes all the way down to the core of the earth. They're going to sleep better. It's going to help life, all of existence. So just gold light melts away any attachments to your grounding. If you do have young kids, you can just say, angels, can you help my kids have their grounding? You could consciously teach your kids, like be like, hey, I'm a big tree with strong roots. You're a big tree with strong roots. Well, let's be a tree. Let's be different trees. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. You could have hard objects stuck in the outer surface of your grounding. Just melt those away. Gold light. All right. Okay. So aura repair of all your 17 auras. How is it that you have 17 auras? Well, there's the astral body aura, the physical body aura, and then you have 15 auras, which are called Wei Qi auras, which is Wei Qi is a traditional Chinese medicine concept, but the fact that that strong defense boundaries energy is contained in 15 auras that you have, which give you extra help for your meridians and all of your existence. That's not strict traditional Chinese medicine. It's inspired by that and the angels. So anyway, so your 17 auras, they're all around you. And if you're reasonably present, they're all in the same spot. So you just make copies of those out in front of you and just comb through all your 17 auras. And just like you did with the grounding, just wash out all the junk. Let the junk go down your grounding and be absorbed by the core of the earth, or just melt all the junk with the gold light. And aura repair, that's more aura unblocking. Aura repair is where you're going to mend up all the leaks and let them, all the rips, and let them grow back so that they don't exist anymore. And you can do location specific, which I always tend to do when I'm healing myself. So like maybe up here, or, in front of your chest, or, by your knee or something. You have specific aura damage and you could work just one area at a time. But right now I'm going to just work all areas at the same time, which is very efficient. And it's also more newbie friendly if you don't, trust yourself to find all the different locations where you have rips. So you just create an image of a rip and have that be a composite copy. Have that represent all the rips in all your 17 auras that you need to repair. And then you just want to clean out the rip and with sticky gold wax. So sticky gold wax is gold light from your hands, but it sticks, it forms a lump and it sticks to everything that's not you, including hard objects, including invasive beings, invasive people, whatever's not you. So fill it up with sticky gold wax, and then it forms a lump and sticks to everything that's not you. You lift out all that junk and give it to your angels. Angels, here you go. So again, fill up the rip with sticky gold wax, have it stick to all that junk, lift out the junk. Angels, here you go. And then just get the gold light as deep as you can in that rip so that you repair. Starts growing back. And the rip just gets less deep and it gets smaller until it's not there anymore. But you're repairing several rips at once, so, be kind of thorough. Some will repair faster than others. All right, so now most of them are possibly repaired, but there could be a few left over. So let's make one more composite copy rip and have it represent the leftover rips that are still there. And we'll do the exact same process again. So sticky gold wax, lift out the junk. Angels, here you go. Sticky gold wax, lift out the junk. Angels, here you go. We'll maybe stick an extra thing in where we do a big cube of collapsing gold nets around this rip, and we're going to gather up anything that's not you in the nets, like invasive beings or invasive people. Just drag that out, give it to your angels. Angels, here you go. So a big cube of collapsing gold nets, have the nets collapse in and tangle up and catch whatever's not you, drag it out. Angels, here you go. And then now you can just use gold light really deep in there. Make sure you start so that it starts to grow back and repair. You could have a couple hard objects that are just so wedged into your space, they were thrown at you like a hard spear. it could be so wedged in there that you actually repaired the auras around it, but you didn't get rid of it. So it's like this, big stake going in, but the auras are all repaired around it, and you're like, well, I guess I'm done. So we do want to get rid of those too. So you can just imagine like a really mini version of yourself, and if there's any big or small leftover hard objects stuck, just surround those in gold light and just move out the leftover hard objects. Angels, here you go. So again, imagine a mini version of your whole energy system. Imagine any leftover hard objects that you missed that are still there. Surround those in gold light. Move those out. Angels, here you go. And then just use extra gold light to repair whatever gashes are left over now that you removed those hard objects. And double check the outer surface for any leaks. Outer surface of all the 17 auras. Use extra gold light to repair those remaining little leaks. Okay. So your gold mesh spheres, GMS, gold mesh spheres of your Wei Qi auras. So these gold mesh spheres, the Wei Qi auras, they're big gold force fields, right? And so how is that? Where does that gold come from? Well, your gold mesh spheres make the gold light. And so each Wei Qi aura has 3 gold mesh spheres that surround you. And they work well unless they're damaged and dirty, and just mucked up with energy blocks. So we're just going to imagine, the 15 inner gold mesh spheres, the 15 middle ones, the 15 outermost gold mesh spheres, and just repair them in place, wash them off. So use gold light for your hands and repair your gold mesh spheres and clean them off. And you can do extra in areas that you feel like you need extra work on your gold mesh spheres, like maybe behind your head. Maybe there's a lot of damage there to your gold mesh spheres. So you can work one area at a time that maybe needs extra help. So right now doing gold mesh spheres in the back behind the head. And right above the head. Maybe right in front of the tummy. Maybe your gold mesh spheres there are extra damaged. So gold mesh spheres right in front of the tummy. And again, you can do like imagine a mini you, and all your auras, your body, your physical body, your astral body are inside there, and both your groundings, and just make collapsing gold nets for that whole area, bigger than all your auras, all the way down to the core of the earth. Gold nets, and just collapse them in so you can gather up any invasive beings or invasive people that are in the way of this healing and repair, and just gather them up in the nets and give them to your angels. Angels, here you go. Another big cube of gold netting, and collapse it in so you tangle up everything that's not you. Drag it out. Angels, here you go. Couple deep breaths. Okay, and double check your grounding. Comb through that again. Melt away any blocks. Double check your grounding in the back, especially. A lot of people, it's more likely to block up down there. It's just because, you know, people, they're so front focused. They don't give enough care unblocking to anything behind them. You have your space exists behind you too, and it's really important. So comb through the back of your auras, the backs of your major chakras, 6 through 1, back of your grounding, comb through that, melt blocks. Redo your gold buffer zones. Those are big gold force fields that you make, and you attach them to the edges of your astral body aura and your physical body aura, and they act as buffers, so they slow the rate of aura damage if you recreate them enough. And there's an 18-minute video on gold buffer zones if you want to learn that. Right, good job, good job. So let's do a little celebration for that. Hey, good job. I love that. So creative rings are another one of what I call the essentials that we do towards the start generally. So creative rings are a part of your astral body energy system. They're above your head, above your astral body head, technically. 1, 2, 3. They're 3 gold rings, and they generate gold light as well, just like those gold mesh spheres that we just repaired. And that gold light hopefully goes within that area right there above your 7th chakra, and so that's a nice protective little force field there. But then it's also sent downward to help all your major chakras, 7 in the top of your head, and then 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So it's a good thing, creative rings. But like a lot of this stuff, it could be good or it could be really bad, you know, if it's really damaged and you have a lot of foreign energy coming through there, because it's a very key spot, right? So just imagine a copy of your 3 gold creative rings out in front of you, and check for breaks, check for cords. You don't want breaks, you don't want cords. So there's no good reason for anybody to cord your creative rings. So just use gold light and wash out any broken spots so they can just grow back automatically. Unblock them if there's like sort of gunk, you know, hard junk on the inside or the outside of them. You definitely want to melt cords away that are going into them. Sometimes you have pretty persistent invasive beings trying to cord your creative rings over and over, so it's better just to get those beings recycled by your angels. So you just imagine your creative rings and just imagine, like, don't get into the fear thing of it, like, ooh, no, invasive beings, ah, you know. Just try to be real simple about it, you know, and level-headed. So you imagine your rings, and you imagine just like a bunch of like clouds to represent invasive beings, and just be like, angels, can you recycle all these invasive beings? if you don't like the visual of it, you can just say, you know, angels, can you recycle any invasive beings that are messing with my creative rings, or even thinking about messing with my creative rings? And then with the people that are cording your creative rings, you just melt the cords going into your creative. So your creative rings, just like the round openings of all your major chakras, they have flaps. And this is what your flaps look like when they're irritated. This is what you don't want, where they stick out like that. That would be because you have a pair or several pairs of cords coming in, sending energy that's not yours into the rings, and they get irritated and they puff out, and then that energy has to go somewhere. And so it goes typically downward to bother some of your chakras as well. So we don't want that, right? So just check the flaps. If they're not shut, that means you probably missed a few cords, a few hard objects that are just irritating things and causing leaks, therefore attracting things. You could do sticky gold wax and have that stick to everything that's not you, you know, invasive beings, hard objects, energy blocks, sticky gold wax, and then move out the wax and the junk. Angels, here you go. Again, sticky gold wax, your creative rings. Have it stick to everything that's healthy and gentle to clear right now. Move it out. Angels, here you go. So again, let those flaps relax. Use enough gold light that the cords melt and the flaps can just relax and fall shut. So then it's a nice smooth ring. So then it can just do its job. And you want the inner part of the rings to be very unblocked so that your 7th chakra energy can shoot through the rings up to your 7th layer and fountain downward through your 7th layer. If your creative rings are too blocked, then your energy has to detour around the rings, which feels really like wobbly. And plus you're bringing in new energy, hopefully from your from the astral that you created with your angels in your sleep, and that ideally would come straight through through your creative rings into your 7th chakra. So again, you want to unblock the inner part of your creative rings and that whole route from your 7th chakra all the way up top of your auras. Unblock. Double check that the flaps are relaxed and closed. Don't force them shut, just fix them, you know, melt away enough cords and hard objects so they can feel good and at rest. All shut. Okay, good job. Sorry about that. My neighbor just texted me. They don't know I'm live streaming. All right, so now we will do chakra repair and unblocking to benefit you in a million general ways, and also specifically for the theme of enjoying simple pleasures. And that's true in general. When we do chakra repair, it's in general and for the theme. So some people might miss that. Like if they really want to work the theme, they really love the theme, they might not realize like chakra repair is a significant section where we did work the theme. Because we're doing unblocking and it's all the chakras. So, you know, if you do unblocking for the theme, that can really help. Okay. So for chakra repair, you could individually do chakra repair on different chakras, but and for major chakras, that can be interesting to notice, like, oh, the top 2 are cracked, but the rest are fine, or oh, the bottom one is totally blown to bits, but the rest are fine. You know, it can be useful to notice that and not assume that, you know, I hear this sometimes like, oh, I meditate so much, I can't believe my chakras are damaged. Which is so funny to me because it's like, I don't know. I mean, I get it that, you know, you would hope that your efforts are yielding results. But I'm sure they are yielding results, but not that kind of result. They don't make your chakras perfect from now till eternity so that they never get damaged. That's not the result that you would get from meditation. Your chakras very much can still get damaged, which is why we do chakra repair every single healing. And I would encourage you to just get good at intuitively checking, you know, oh, yeah, I got some chakras damage. Especially if you feel a little off, you know, it's better to check all these essentials that we're doing just real fast. You know, you don't have to do a whole 2-hour healing on yourself. Just, you know, learn to check, okay, how are my creative rings? No, they're pretty good. How's my grounding? Oh, it's pretty good. How are my chakras? Ooh, lower ones are really messed, you know, that kind of idea. Okay, so now, enough talking, we're doing. So this is the basic chakra shape, like an open cylinder. Obviously, some are bigger or smaller, depending on their location and function. But we want to do chakra repair for all major and minor chakras. So the major chakras are the 7 astral and 7 physical along your spine. But the minor chakras are all the other chakras that you have, which are quite a bit. You have a chakra in each joint of your body. You have extra chakras in like big energy channels, like in your arms, your legs. All your acupuncture points, those are minor chakras. Those are all chakras. So lots and lots of chakras, right? So just we're going to use composite copy technique to repair and unblock all of them at once. And then 2, towards the end, we'll do first, last point, and key midpoint repair and unblocking as well, which is a holdover. That's something that we did in last month because we did traditional Chinese medicine energy healing stuff more that month. So that was a nice aspect, and I'll just put that into chakra repair this time. So, but first we'll do the standard way, which is just all chakras, including acupuncture point chakras, just repair and unblock. So imagine a basic chakra shape, and with your intention to have it represent all your major and minor chakras for your body and spirit. And you just use gold light and melt cords. You can have those flaps open and irritated around the round openings. So palm those down, melt cords. You can just kind of pop out the hard objects and let them explode. That's my cat Smokey. I think you can hear him a little bit, but you can't hear how loud he is because of the microphone is very directional. But he's having a good time. So again, we're healing all major and minor chakras at the same time, repairing with gold light, melt cords, pairs of cords, going into the round openings, popping out any hard objects that are stuck. And repair the surface of the round openings. The surface is kind of like the surface of water. It should be flowy, you know, and ripply if you tap it, but it can get really hard and stuck with a bunch of energy blocks there. So just melt away all that hard stuck junk. Whew, with gold light from your hands. You can even lift out the hard stuck junk and melt it separately. Comb out the hard stuck junk, melt it away. Your intention throughout healing, I would suggest, is that you want to do what's healthy and gentle to do right now. So incremental steps, because that's most efficient in the end. That way you're not freaking yourself out by doing too much, but you're doing a lot. Drag out the energy blocks, melt them away. You could blow them up too. just as a healer, I'm healing other people and myself, so I don't want to, blowing up other people's stuff is too much. Like too bossy. But you can drag out the junk and melt it away with gold light. You can also drag out the junk, give it to your angels. Angels, here you go. Drag out the junk. Angels, here you go. Melt cords. The only cord I would suggest keeping is the first chakra cord only to your kids if you have young kids, like 12 or younger. But I would suggest you melt all the other cords. I mentioned last set about recreational courting. Like if you're flirting with somebody, then there are temporary cords that you might do with that person subconsciously. Those are fine, but it's nice if they are temporary and then you can just make them later again, because then when you melt all the cords, then you get to clear and transform. So that's how it's just better, so that then there's no recreational flirting that's holding you back on a spirit level, because they're temporary cords. You're melting them away so that you can do this kind of work. If they're constant cords, then that can become really sort of stunting spiritually and hold you back. Okay, and then you can lift out the blocks above too, bring them out and just blow them up or melt them with gold light. Lift out the blocks, melt them with gold light. So that's just in general. So then for the theme, you just would have to think about the theme a teeny bit in order to trigger it extra. Although we've already discussed it, so that probably did help the theme, what we just did. But simple pleasures, being able to, I use this expression, smell the roses, although with video titles, I can't be too wordy. So, but being able to smell the roses, that's the same concept. It's just being able to enjoy simple pleasures in your daily life. So if there's any blocks in your chakras that are in the way of that, just lift that out and melt them away, or hand them to your angels. Angels, here you go. Any blocks in any of your chakras in the way of you enjoying simple pleasures that are healthy and gentle to clear right now, just lift out those blocks. Angels, here you go. And we did want to make sure that included in the simple pleasures is sexuality. I mean, there is a way to fully turn off your sexuality, so it's just not a thing for you at this time. But, if you're not like 80 years old and you still have hormones and, things could still be enjoyable, even just on an individual level. You don't have to shut off your sexuality. So, so there's that. So, and besides, you don't want other people's blocks shutting off your sexuality. Like if you're choosing to shut off your sexuality, that's one thing. But if, it's like oppression from this and past lives that is shutting off your sexuality for you, that's a totally different story. And that would affect your future lifetimes, even when you're young and, raring to go. So what we can do, you have a copy representing all your major and minor chakras. You can lift out any other people's energy that's negatively impacting your sexuality. Just lift that out to the extent that's healthy and gently get rid of it now. And just melt it away or blow it up or hand it to your angels. Angels, here you go. So again, anybody else's energy that's negatively impacting your sexuality, lift that out, melt it away with gold light or blow it up or give it to your angels. So again, anybody else's energy that is shutting down your sexuality, just lift that out. Angels, here you go. Because there's also sensuality, which is kind of a cousin of that. And so that's like, you know, enjoying clothing and, you know, smells, like, you know, maybe there's a nice perfume that you like, or a nice, you know, natural scent, or, you know, feeling the weather and enjoying that, or, you know, like senses, like really enjoying the food that you're eating more than you would otherwise, rather than just eating it to eat. You know, so that's part of simple pleasures, right? So lift out anything in the way of you enjoying your sensuality, your senses, right? So lift out that junk. Angels, here you go. Anything that's healthy and gentle to get rid of right now that's in the way of you enjoying your senses, your sensuality. Lift that out. Angels, here you go. Love life. That's another simple pleasure. And, you know, if you're single and not choosing to have a love life, you know, as a single person, like, you know, they're single, but like looking and actively, you know, wanting good love life flow. I mean, but there could be a time in your life where you just, you know, shut it off by your own volition, your own choice. So that's fine. That's your choice, right? But if that choice is being influenced by other people's energy in your space, shutting down your sexuality for you, or your love life for you, that's a whole different situation, right? So you can lift out anybody else's energy that is stagnating or shutting down your love life energy. So lift out other people's energy that's shutting down your love life. Angels, here you go. And it could very well be from past lives too. Or like decades ago, but the energy's still there from somebody else, right? So any energy from somebody else that is shutting down your love life in any of your chakras. So lift out that junk. Angels, here you go. So again, any energy that's shutting down your love life, angels, here you go. So just let your chakras relax, melt cords, let the flaps relax. Couple deep breaths. Feel your shoulders, feel your hips, feel your toes, your ankles. All right, good job. Let's do some celebratory butterflies for that one. Good job, good job. All right. You know, I did want to do maybe that. I'll do it later. We'll do gold force fields around the major chakras and good karma windows and CV, CV meridians all at once. So there'll be a gold force field section. Not right now, though. Okay, so we still have good karma window stuff to do, but I want, before then, since that was so much work that we did in the chakra repair section, chakra repair and unblocking in general and for the theme, I want to do some backlash work. In other words, work so you don't get backlash, hopefully, or much, much less likely to get backlash from people in your life that are not cool with you progressing and changing and tend to throw energy when you try. So first we're going to melt cords between you and them, which does help. And we're going to really, really hunt for some deep cords that you're not aware of and melt those. And then we'll do processing flowers. So that's a new thing I discussed in the intro overview section. For yourself and for your processing people to help them, respectfully put in a distance so it's not forced on them. But, the angels will help tune it so that that in of itself doesn't cause a backlash. So that, if they want them, they can, they'll see them, so they could ignore them if they want, or they could use them to help them process and adjust and adapt to the fact that you have changed and you are changing. And so hopefully that will help them to be less likely to backlash you. Throw shit at you. Okay, good. So that was explaining. So now we will do... okay. So imagine yourself, imagine your backlash people. Sometimes you might want to think of them as setback people because you think, oh, my mommy is so nice. She couldn't possibly be a backlash person. Don't know what that's like, but I know there are some people that feel that way. So you don't have to know who these people are. Like they could just be a neighbor or somebody that you work with. But it's anybody that, throws energy, cords, whatever, tries to react in an invasive way when you're progressing or you're trying to progress. So imagine yourself, imagine all those people, backlash and setback people. And just use gold light near your space. Don't send them gold light, but just, melt the cords, even teeny weeny, really thin ones that you can barely notice. Melt those too, for sure. And then melt the blocks that the cords are going into in your space. There could be cords too that you started subconsciously, like trying to calm them down or something in an invasive way subconsciously. So that's not cool. It doesn't help the situation. So just melt all the cords between you and your backlash and setback people. And so there's that. And that can help because it can allow them to ignore you when they want to ignore you and not receive big whooshes of energy as you're changing because they are corded to you. So this way they can just not feel your change, which might be easier for them. So then processing flowers. First we'll do processing flowers for ourselves. First do it for yourself. So you make energy healing flowers. If you don't like flowers, make like balls of light, that are gold or rainbow colored or both. Just make a whole bunch. Make them out of universal healing energy, just with your intention. And you set them to whatever vibration that you need to help you process. Process, adjusting to the present, process whatever, just kind of like get a grip. Help you to adjust and be fully competent. Yeah, that's what processing is. So make your processing flowers. Say, angels, can you check my flowers? And then give them to yourself. Couple deep breaths. Go ahead, make more processing flowers for yourself. Help you get a grip on your life and just adjust to the present, adjust to this life. And angels, can you check my flowers? And give them to yourself. All right, cool. So now we'll make processing flowers for your backlash and setback people. And again, it's important to remember we're going to have the angels check them first, and we're going to put them at a very respectful distance in front of their aura. So, like, say if I were doing processing flowers for AccuDoll, right? Here's the front of her auras. So I would want to put the flowers way in front of that. I wouldn't want to put them in her auras because that's invasive. So even if you mean well, that is invasive and will start a lot of trouble. It's not good karma, right? So the edge of their aura, and then maybe 6 to 10 feet, maybe 10 feet in front of that, because these are backlash and setback people. So they're not cool with change and stuff generally. So you want to just really just put it at a distance so they notice it, but it's easy for them to ignore if they want to, right? So, okay. Let's just make a whole bunch of energy healing flowers out of universal healing energy, tune them to the vibration that they might need to help them process the fact that you're changing and life is changing. And say, angels, can you double check these flowers? These are for my backlash and setback people. They may change a lot when your angels change them, which is fine. Your angels are smart about this stuff. Right? Okay, so then you imagine your backlash and setback people. You can imagine them like standing in a row. So then their fronts of their auras are pretty much at the same distance. And imagine maybe like 8 to 10 feet in front of that even. And then that's where you put the processing flowers. And you say, angels, can you double check them again? And then just, if the people notice it, great. If they don't, great. Don't make a big speech or anything. Just lay them there, have the angels double check, and that's that. All right, good job. So I would not suggest that you do that twice unless you're somewhat advanced and you can see the person and you know that they want more of that, and then you could do it again. But in general, like I said, backlash and setback people, the reason they're backlash and setback people is they're not really into this kind of spiritual change concept. So you don't want to overdo it. Okay, cool. So good job. Okay, so first we're going to do just basic repair and unblocking of your good karma windows, which are back here, straight back from like the base of your skull and the top of your neck. So let's do that. And then it'll transition into a different chapter, which will be enhancing the gold force fields for your good karma windows, but also several other areas. So this area, this chapter, I'll put in flow. Yeah, why not? Okay, so. All right, so good karma windows, like I said, they're triple frame windows. They're behind your base of your skull and the top of your neck and your astral body auras. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. They can get damaged and bashed in which case invasive energy can get in. If you've had persistent anxiety and you know you're repairing your chakras and you know they're really getting repaired, then this could be the way that junk is getting in. Invasive energies is you have some damage to your good karma windows that you missed. So I would suggest you do them one by one, just because If one of them is damaged, it's a real, excuse my French, but it's a real bitch. A lot of junk can get in. And you can just sticky gold wax them and have the wax stick to invasive beings and hard objects and invasive people that are there, and just lift all that junk out. Angels, here you go. Sticky gold wax that area, have it stick to everything that's not you, lift it out. Angels, here you go. Again, do some more repair of your good karma windows. Tunnels are like invasive being tunnels. Again, that's something that people could get really phobic about. So that's unfortunate, but try not to be freaked out about it. It's just, you know, people have like bus stops, right? They have train stations. So invasive beings can have little tunnels so that they can travel easier, right? And you don't want invasive beings to have an easier route into your space, right? So, especially around your good karma windows, right? So if there are any being tunnels that are at all impacting your good karma window area, you could say, angels, can you recycle all the beings that came through any being tunnels? And can you recycle the being tunnels and seal it all up? And you may have being tunnels in physical locations that you're in, like maybe, you know, your laundry room, or like the part of your closet where you put your dirty laundry, or, you know, some part of your desk that's like always messy, or, you know, there could be a one or two old being tunnels and sometimes they work, and so it keeps making the place kind of gross. It could be in places that you work, like if you work in somebody else's home, or you have common areas like an elevator in your condo building, whatever, right? So some of those areas you manage, like in your home, but some of those areas you don't manage, like a public subway station. You don't manage that yourself, and you shouldn't manage that yourself. You get in trouble karmically. So you can just do sort of a blanket request from the angels to the angels and say, okay, angels, any being tunnels that are impacting me in my everyday life, and if you have kids, you know, impacting my kids in their everyday lives, or my spouse in his or her everyday life, can you please recycle all the beings that came through those tunnels, recycle the tunnels, seal everything all up? Because you're not allowed to clean that stuff out of somebody's home. I mean, unless you have some sort of special agreement with them, but typically you're not. You don't. And you know, in a common area, you could get in a lot of trouble doing that. You know, like a condo elevator or something. So the angels can work all that diplomatic Yahoo and figure it out for you and do it. So again, just imagine like your whole, all the physical locations that you're in and your loved ones are in, and just be like, angels, can you recycle any beings that came through any tunnels? Can you recycle the tunnels? Can you seal it all up? And then just wash your hands of the situation. You ask for it. You could ask for it regularly, but that's it. So that can be useful if you're, you know, in some professions, it's more important than others. You know, like if you're a teacher, you're dealing with a lot of kids, and some of those kids have really sort of far out parents that, you know, are in places with being tunnels and stuff. So, you know, it's like it can help. You know, you can, it's nice. That way your world is less trippy. more easy to handle. So that was, so what we just did, I'm just gonna say in and about to mean that we had the angels recycle beings and being tunnels and seal it all up that were within your good karma window area, but then anywhere else, you know, in your space, but also in your house or in physical places that you go to, physical places that your spouse goes to or your kids go to, your loved ones. So it was pretty global, and we don't usually do that. So that's that. That's what we did. And it's easy to do. And that can help, you know, if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I don't know where all these beings are coming from all the time. All right. So there's that. So now we will continue. We'll do flow zone. We already did good karma windows, so your flow zone is in that same area, but it's your physical body aura, and there's no like triple window stuff. It's just, you know, your physical body aura has layers, you know, 7 layers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, and so those are behind you, in front of you, all around you. So you just, since it's such a key area, you know, straight back from the base of your skull and back of your neck, you want to make sure it's unblocked. And this I call flow zone, and it also includes in and around your neck. So just do extra unblocking your flow zone. Extra unblocking for your flow zone. Because any energy blocks in here are going to be basically stepping stone blocks that make it easier for someone to send energy into very key places in your upper chakras, and you have a lot of really super cool traditional Chinese medicine meridians and acupuncture points in this area, so you don't want blocks in your flow zone. Because good flow protects you, makes it much harder for people to cord you, and makes it harder for energy that's thrown at you to go deeper. Flow is protecting. So you may not see where the blocks are, you know, if your clairvoyance hasn't turned on enough yet. But you can just imagine, okay, these are the 3 biggest blocks in my flow zone, which is in and around my neck and behind here in my physical body aura. So the 3 biggest blocks in my flow zone, and I'm just going to melt them away with gold light. Okay, so then the next 3 biggest blocks in my flow zone, I'm going to melt them with gold light. You could also blow them up. Okay, so then the next 3 biggest blocks in my flow zone, doesn't have to be 3, you know, I'm just randomly picking. You can also make an extra grounding for all those acupuncture points in the base of skull. I don't want to get super into them this time, so just, you know, you can imagine a red grounding that goes all the way down the core of the earth, comes all the way up to the whole back of your head, on the base of your skull, and just have that drain out all the way down to the core of the earth, any built up pressure. Release it down to the core of the earth. Okay, great. So now So I'm just saying how we already just did a red grounding for the base of the skull to just dump out extra pressure there. Right, which gets you more present and checked in your upper chakras, which is very useful. Handy dandy. So now okay. So gold force fields, we're just going to enhance the ones that should be there already with extra gold light. And that's going to be kind of like the gold buffer zones are, you know, where it's just going to help strengthen the area and make it less vulnerable to energy attacks. We're just going to use universal gold light, universal gold healing energy. So the good karma windows, we were just working those. They're back here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, behind the base of your skull, top of your neck, in your astral body aura. So just use gold light and unblock that area, and extra gold light to just strengthen the force field that's around, the force field of your energy that is around your good karma windows. So there's lots of gold light just kind of buffering them. You don't really want to send gold light into your physical body and those points right there. I mean, temporarily to unblock them, yes. But as a permanent thing, red would be nice for the actual base of skull points. But for the good karma windows that are actually, you know, not your physical body points, they're just in your astral body aura, gold light and a gold nice force field is helpful. Okay, so then your major chakras along your spine, meaning your 7 astral body chakras and your 7 physical body chakras. The 7th is oriented this way, like this. Much smaller than this, of course, with the round opening in the top of your head and then the round opening in the bottom there. And then 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 are oriented this way, like this. The round opening in the front and round opening in the back, all the way down 6, 5, 4, 3. So just imagine both those sets of major chakras, and if you're fully present in all your chakras, then the astral 7th is fitted into the physical 7th. Astral 6th is fit into the physical 6th, on down all the way to the astral 1st fitting into the physical 1st. Many people are not in all their chakras, and so, but you start at the top. So maybe you're in 7, 6, 5, maybe you're in 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, maybe you're in 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, you know, yada, yada. So just unblock the chakras while we're here doing this, and so that more of them pop in. But then also think about that gold force field around the chakras and just strengthen that with more gold light. And you can let your angels tell you when you've done enough. If you're, you know, I mean, you can try to hear your angels. You have angels whether you knew that you had them or not. But you can just use your intuition to know how much is enough for strengthening this gold force field around all your major chakras. Deep breaths. And then the GV and CV meridians, that's, I don't know that we've done that really much at all. The gold force field around the CV and GV meridians. So GV goes up, straight line up. They both start in the crotch, but then the GV governing vessel goes up the back, midline of the back, hooks around, ends in the mouth. And then CV starts in the crotch and goes up the midline of the front and ends on the tip of the tongue. I forget, like one of them ends in like the weird part of the gum. I think that's the GV one, ends like right there, but then it goes into the roof of the mouth. But like the last point is right there. But anyway, whatever. The CV goes up this way and the GV goes around. But they both flow upward, and they both have a natural force field around them of your energy. So you can just, of your body's energy, really. So you can just strengthen that with lots of gold light. It's these CV and GV meridians, it's physical body meridians. They help your spirit and your psychology and everything, but they are located in your physical body. Wow. So just alternate which one you're working on, or work on them both at once, whichever. You make your copy big or small. If you make your copy small, then you don't have to move your hands really. You can just kind of fit the copies right inside there. You can do extra around the GV meridian as it goes around base of skull points and the top of your head and your forehead. Because that area tends to take a lot of energy attacks. So it'd be nice to have extra strong gold flowy force field right there around your GV meridian. But again, like the red is a good color for the acupuncture points themselves within the GV meridian. But the force field around it can be gold, that's fine. Couple deep breaths. I'm going to look at a sample person for a minute, so I'll be quiet while I figure out what's best to do next. Okay, so we're going to clear rad blocks. I was looking at one of my people I'm healing, and He's the brother of a new client, so I've never healed her before, and I've never healed her brother before. But he's less, it seems like he's less, well, anyway, he has a little bit of an issue right now. Like, he's been doing well with the healing so far, but like now he's kind of like fidgety on a spirit level. And it's because sometimes the techniques can be so effective, but then you kind of, and you're not healing too much, but then it's like there's things that you have been avoiding for like 10 years or 2 lifetimes that suddenly you feel because you're more present. And that's very uncomfortable. Then you're kind of like chasing your tail, trying to avoid stuff still. So if you clear rad blocks, which are blocks that are causing you to be in resistance or avoidance or denial, or they are what you are resisting, avoiding, and denying, if you just clear that stuff, then it's just so much easier. And there's not this weird like fidgetiness that you might get with particularly effective healing. So, okay. So just put out rad blocks in front of you. Just pile them out in front of you. You can use a gold blanket if that makes you feel better, but it's not necessary. You can make piles and mountains or boxes or whatever. So any blocks that are healthy and gentle to clear right now that are causing you to be in resistance or avoidance or denial, just run gold light through them, melt the cords going into them, and melt those blocks. You can blow them up too. That's an option. You can also hand them to your angels. Angels, can you help me with these? And you can do that again, because sometimes it's not that the first time didn't work. It's just that the more you do, the more you're open to doing more. The more it's like, oh, okay, I'll do some more now. So go ahead and, if you want, put a gold blanket out in front of you or some gold boxes, which you can just make piles. Just dump out in front of you copies of anything that you're resisting or avoiding or denying. And you can really be generous and put tons of shit out there, because this time we'll be sure to ask the angels, is this okay to clear all this, right? So just anything that you're resisting or avoiding or denying, just make giant piles out in front of you and say, angels, is it healthy and gentle to clear all this right now? That way, if it's not, they'll edit the piles for you. Just take a deep breath while your angels do some editing, potentially, if needed. So that means anything left over is healthy and gentle to clear right now. It would totally help you to clear. So you could blow it up. You can just use gold light, melt cords from other people going into this stuff, and melt this stuff away or blow it up. If there's anything left over, just hand it to your angels. Angels, can you help me with this? All right, great job. I'm going to look for one more little short minute to see what's best to do next. Okay, so I talked about this quite a bit in the intro, even in the overview, before the healing started, even in the section where we were talking about chat comments, we went back to discussing this more. So, and I give a big example about Biden, President Biden. So adjusting to the present. So go ahead and check deeper. You're looking for deeper parts of you that are not optimally adjusted to the present situations in your life and the present people in your life, right? Because things always change, people change, stuff changes, right? So you want to be, kind of with it, you want to be totally adjusted to your current reality, to the current reality, like people and situations in your life, right? So, but you're hunting for where you're not well adjusted to that yet. You're stuck 10 years ago or 20 years ago or 2 lifetimes ago, but we'll just hunt for in this life. So, Okay, so look at, okay, this is the direction, you know, as if you're a ship in the water. Look for the direction that's optimal for you right now in present. And then look for those parts of you that are kind of out of step with what's optimal. And what direction is that? Is it, you know, close to it, or is it really a totally different direction? As far as a ship traveling on the water. So the parts of you that are really not adjusted to the present, what direction are they traveling? And the reason you would just want to see that is just you just want to be aware of like how out of sync are you, and then that part of you that's not in sync with the present, that's not adjusted to, you know, optimally adjusted to the present. How many years ago are you adjusted for? Like, was that what would have been good for you 10 years ago, 20 years ago, or you're just stuck and it was never really good, but you've been stuck that way for 30 years, you know? It's just fun to notice. You don't have to notice, but it's nice to notice. Okay. So then forgive yourself. You know, life happens, whatever. Nobody's perfect, right? So then just now we're just going to clear and nourish so that you can get those parts of you with the program, get the parts of you, you know, fully adjusted to the present realities in your life. Okay. So first we'll start with nourishing. That's always, it feels kind of like a treat, you know, so that might be friendlier to start with. So just make a whole bunch of energy healing flowers out of universal healing energy, gold and or rainbow colors, whatever healing energy that you need to adjust those out of sync parts of you to the present, right? And say, angels, can you check my flowers? And then give them to yourself. So they're like adjusting to the present flowers. Right? So go ahead and make more of those. Any energy healing flowers that you need to at the right vibration to help you adjust to the present, even on deep, deep, deep levels, right? And say, angels, can you check my flowers? And give them to yourself. Okay, and then we'll do some clearing. You can check your ship direction and see if the, you know, those out of sync parts of you, out of sync with the present, have come more in line with the present yet. But don't worry if they haven't done much shifting yet. So now we're going to clear blocks in the way of, you know, holding you back, like matched to what you needed 10 or 20 or 5 years ago or 3 years ago, whatever. Right? So just you could use a gold blanket out in front of you, gold boxes, or just make piles. But just put copies of whatever baggage is in your space. It could be from other people. It could be from you. A lot of times it's from you, though. It's just your stuff. But whatever keeps you rigidly not adjusted to the present, you know, stuck in the past, right? And say, angels, is it okay to clear all this right now? And then you can blow it all up, or just melt it with a lot of gold light, melt cords going into it from you or other people. Melt it away. And you can give the leftovers to your angels. Angels, can you help me with this? A couple deep breaths and we'll do that again. Okay, and then again, any baggage that you have within you that's, you know, messing with that ship direction thing, any baggage that's keeping keeping parts of you out of sync with the present, so that you're not adjusted enough to the present in an optimal way. So just all that baggage from you or other people, but it's in your space, you know, put it out in front of you. Angels, is it okay to clear all this right now? Is it healthy and gentle to clear all this right now? And whatever's still there, yes, it's okay. Go for it. So you can blow it up or melt it with gold light. Couple deep breaths. So now check your ship direction. So these out of sync parts of you, you're especially looking for those, and compare where they're traveling, the direction they're traveling, if they're a ship on the water, and the ideal or optimal. Maybe ideal maybe makes you think like, okay, you have to be perfect, but what's the optimal direction that your ship should be traveling to make the most of your present life and just enjoy, simple pleasures, and just kind of save your energy and your brain space, and not freak out. So how close are they now? And just keep in mind that you can work more on this with your angels in your sleep. We'll do it again in another healing. You can say, angels, can you help me with this more if I need it? Okay. So then now we're going to do just adjusting to this life time. So that's the same thing, but we don't really have to do a ship direction thing. It's more of like, as I explained in the overview section, there could be major aspects of this lifetime that you were not okay with. You still signed on to it. Most of you realize that it's the best thing for you, for your learning and your strengthening and your involvement and, all that. But there could be, like, for example, one of your parents that you were not okay with choosing that parent, like part of you is not okay with choosing that parent, or, certain types of hardships that you went through that are major, that were, since they're so major, they were pre-planned by you and the angels. Part of you can be like, that's the most ridiculous thing ever. I totally do not agree with that. And that part of you might have just stayed outside of the lifetime and never come in, even though that part of you would ideally come in to help you with your strength and your experiences and to enjoy your life, enjoy the simple pleasures, right? So is there parts of you like that have just protested and never come in, but there are parts of you that would ideally come in? And you can imagine them like little mini yous if you want, and just you can use gold light and just imagine the blocks that those parts of you have about it. Because the angels, they know how to do their job, and the bulk of you already saw the wisdom of how things were planned, but part of you is like, that's ridiculous. So just heal those parts of you that are like protesting this lifetime and major aspects of this lifetime, and staying out, and they never came in, because it can help you to have all of the parts of you that can come in. It can make you stronger. It can help your physical body even. So just heal these parts of you that have been protesting the entire time and haven't even come in. Just say, hey, it's okay. I totally get it. It's really hard to believe that I picked that parent, didn't I? Yeah, isn't it? You can empathize with those parts of you, but the fact is you did pick, these events and these parents and whatever. And so the more of you that's on the team and in the life, the better, so that you can, be stronger and learn faster and enjoy things. All right. So there still could be, maybe initially there was like 20% of you out protesting that never came in, and now there's 10% of you out still protesting that didn't come in. But, don't force it. That's a big shift just in and of itself. So just, breathe, let things take their time. We will work this in another healing in this set, probably just the one in 2 days from now, at least. So good job. And we'll do another round of processing flowers for yourself and for your backlash people, because that shift of bringing in those parts of you that initially were out protesting and they never came into the life, that's one that would be noticeable to the people around you, which, you know, a lot of people could be really inspired by that in a great way, positive way. But your backlash and setback people are not likely to be affected in a happy way about that. So some processing flowers might smooth things over a little bit. We'll see. Hopefully it will. So first, processing flowers for yourself. Just make, when we did that, we already did this earlier as part of the backlash people chapter. After chakra repair, we did backlash people, and we did this in that. But anyway, so you make energy healing flowers that are tuned to, you know, they're universal healing energy, gold light, and or rainbow colors, but they're tuned to what you need to help you process, you know, whatever you've been going through in your life, whatever current situations you have, right? Help you get a grip. And the angels, can you check my flowers? And give them to yourself. And we'll do 2 more rounds of that. Right? So make energy healing flowers for yourself, specifically tuned to help you process and, you know, process more efficiently and quickly so you can get a grip and make the most of each day. Angels, can you check my flowers? And here you go. Give them to yourself. One more time. Make a bunch of processing flowers for yourself, as many as you possibly need. Angels, can you check my flowers? Give them to yourself. Take a few deep breaths. Okay, so then we're going to do processing flowers for your backlash and setback people, which again, really important to put them at a great distance away from your backlash and setback people so they notice them, but they don't feel any pressure or expectation to receive them. Because that way, you know, maybe it'll work. Maybe it'll help. So make energy healing flowers, same idea, but tune it to the vibrations that you think would help your processing people and backlash people to your backlash people and setback people to process, help them to cope with, you know, your life and their life and all the changes. And say, angels, can you check these flowers? They're for my backlash and setback people. So they might be tuned to quite a different vibration than what you initially chose, which is fine. Angels know what they're doing. And then so you imagine your backlash and setback people like in a row, and then imagine where the edge of their auras are. Don't touch that. And then put the flowers like maybe 8 feet in front of that even. Just so, or 10 feet in front, whatever you think is a far enough distance so that they notice them, but they don't feel any pressure to take them. And then that's it. You did it. Don't do it more than that unless you're advanced and you can read a specific situation, but less is more generally with that. Okay. Great. All right. Good job, good job. Okay, so this is another nice thing to do to help yourself process and adjust your life and what you're doing and what's happening and all that. So this is one of the final things we're doing in the healing. So you don't literally have pots in your space. I mean, you do literally have chakras and auras in your space and meridians, but unprocessed stress pots is a convenient way to imagine your capacity for handling things. Like how unblocked are you? How much are you avoiding? Stuff like that. So you just imagine these pots and you want them to be empty so that if stuff happens and you can't quite handle it at the time, you have the pot space for the pots to fill and they don't overflow and you're not freaking out, right? But if you always have your unprocessed stress pots full, that means you're not processing and unblocking and releasing properly and you're already full. So you can't handle another thing happening in your life or in your day, right? And so you can tend to be more irritable and like, stop, everybody needs to stop, you know? So just imagine your unprocessed stress pots. Maybe you have 10, maybe you have 40, whatever. Imagine all of them though, because some of them you might be hiding from yourself. So it's okay if you have a large number of unprocessed stress pots, right? But just go ahead and imagine all of them and just use lots of gold light. You can use red earth energy, ground them all to the core of the earth with red earth energy, and then use gold light and melt whatever's in them, which is kind of you catching up with your unblocking and your processing. Especially the pots that you've been hiding from yourself, you've been in denial about. Just melt away whatever's in those pots because you want that capacity to kind of, you know, if something's a little too big for you to process immediately, you don't want that to be like, you don't want to go on overload, right? So you want to kind of stay current with all your processing and your unblocking. Just make sure these pots are nice and empty. Couple deep breaths. Okay, so your spiritual path, that's one of the last things we're doing too. So your spiritual path is a road that's just for you, and it is a literal place, not in the body though, but a place that a part of your spirit could be on at all times. But it represents what you're meant to learn and experience in this lifetime. And so you don't want unnecessary drama on your path. You don't want unnecessary blocks, but people can throw stuff on your path and create unnecessary blockades and stuff. And so you feel really roadblocked. People can, there's like a protective force field around your path, like a gold sort of tunnel around it. And that can get all destroyed and beat up. So then there'd be gaping holes. So then it's really easy for foreign energy to impact how you feel and impact your path. So we're just going to unblock and repair that, unblock the path and repair that gold force field around your spiritual path. And maybe give yourself a little mini healing, the part of your spirit that is on that path. So I guess we could start by repairing that gold force field around your spiritual path. Again, your path is just for you. It's not also for your best friend or your kid or something. Everyone has their own. So just imagine your spiritual path and repair the gold force field around it. Look for big gaping holes and wash those off until they fully repair. and unblock your path. Look for unhealthy, unnecessary blocks ahead of you on your path and melt those away. Behind you, you can be dragging a lot of unnecessary, weird burdens. So just melt those with gold light. They don't melt. You can hand them to your angels. Angels, can you help me with this? Angels, can you help me with this? Give yourself a little mini healing, the part of you that is on your path. You want to have a sense that you're making forward progress. You're moving forward. You're not like overwhelmed and sitting on the bench. So just check, are you moving forward? Are you moving forward at a pace that's pleasant for you? And this could also be a time when we're thinking about that theme, smell the roses, enjoy simple pleasures. Is your path conducive to that? And if not, is there something that doesn't belong there? Something that's too overwhelming, too harsh, that's not, a part of your learning or something. It's not like it should be there, right? So anything unnecessary and unhealthy that is on your path that makes it hard for you to enjoy the simple pleasures, just lift it off. You can kind of freeze it and lift it off. The angels, here you go. Lift it off. Angels, here you go. And you can just use gold light and just kind of tune your path a little bit so that it's in your highest best interests for your spiritual growth and also for your enjoyment of the simple pleasures, because that is a spiritual thing, to be able to enjoy and have gratitude and appreciation and present moment awareness. So just kind of use gold light and just tune your path so that it's really healthy for you and it's really enjoyable for you, so that it's easy for you to learn and overcome, and you can enjoy little things along the way as you learn and grow. All right. Okay, so now we'll just wrap up. We've done a good amount, a nice assortment of stuff. So just you can check out your space overall, all your 17 auras. Just comb through everything. Comb through your major chakras along your spine. Comb through both your groundings, especially in the back. Comb through the back of your auras. Redo your gold buffer zones. STEBs stands for stubborn triggered energy blocks. Those are energy blocks that are still there, still uncleared, still bothering you, even though we've done 5 billion different clearing techniques. So we just want to isolate those and clear them, right? So just stack them up out in front of you. Any STEBs, stubborn triggered energy blocks. You can say, angels, is it okay to clear all these? And that way, if some of them aren't okay to clear right now, your angels can store them for you. All right, and then just any that are still there, just melt away cords, melt the blocks, melt your resistance out. You can blow them up. Okay, so we'll do that 2 more times. STEBs, just put any STEBs out in front of you, copies of them out in front of you. Any blocks that are still triggered, still there, haven't cleared yet, just use lots of gold light. The angels, is it okay to clear all these? Yeah, just you melt them, you can blow them up. Oh, you know what? I'm going to stick, we'll do, that's enough STEBs, I think. So let's do, including, okay, so first, last, and key midpoints. I said we would do that in the chakra repair section, but we didn't. So that's a traditional Chinese medicine thing. It's cool. It's simple. You just think of the first little energy center in all your meridians of your body. And the last one, and because those are kind of like gatekeeper ones in a way, you know, if they're blocked, it impacts not only that meridian, but the meridian before and after that the energy flows into and from and whatever. So first and last points are especially key, but also key midpoints. And the midpoints could be any point other than first and last in that meridian, but ones that may be extra blocked or just extra damaged or extra significant for you and needing enhancement, right? So first, last, and key midpoint. You don't have to know what they are. Just unblock and repair. They probably should be already repaired. First, last, and key midpoints. You can, you know, imagine a composite copy representing all the first points, all the last points, and then these key midpoints. Just use cold light. You can use red earth energy, bring up red earth energy and soak these first, last, and key midpoints. All right, and you can let that go. Double check your grounding again. All right, and then you can just, as we wrap up, you can just ask your angels for an extra little healing. You know, angels, help me wrap up this healing. And angels, please help me enjoy the simple pleasures in my day and every day. All right, good job. That's a healing. You're a rock star. Woo! And don't worry if, you know, you're not going to do this entire healing on yourself. It's okay. There's a lot. Good job. Woohoo! Okay, so we've been going for a while already, so I will try to be somewhat quick as I look at chat comments. If you have any comments about how the healing was for you, any comments about the theme or stuff I said, you could chat it right now with the live chat. Of course, if you receive this healing from me, I will be sending you a link this evening to a post-healing survey. If you could take a few minutes to fill that out tomorrow after a good night's sleep, that would be helpful for me as I study how everybody's doing and intuit which techniques help the most, which techniques do I need to do differently, you know, yada, yada. For next healing. Okay. So looking at chat comments that I missed, haven't read yet. This is the way you showed how you pick weeds is very similar to how you deal with energy blocks. I guess they stand no chance. Yeah, well. With me, with weeds, I mean, I'm good at picking them, but it's just time and energy, you know, because in the PNW, man, stuff grows so much and so fast and so big. Like, we literally, like, border a rainforest. There's like the Olympic National Rainforest in Olympia, and I live in Olympia, so it's not, like, next door to me, but it's like, you know, I don't know, we could drive there easily. I mean, the whole area is just very lush, so there's plenty of weeds I have no intention of getting to. It's just too much. All right. Hello from Evergreen, Colorado in the US. Sunny and 65. 65? That's very mild. That's interesting. Thanks for talking about Biden and explaining. The debate left me really frightened. Yeah, it was very interesting. I do think that they were people closest to him must have been hiding, in my opinion, must have been hiding his cognitive decline for at least a few months, because you don't get like that like overnight, you know, so they must have seen that. And there are reports now leaking, you know, from different advisors and donors and whatever, that, you know, yeah, we did see him freeze up and like literally not say anything for way too long, you know, at this one point. But then there's all these people that, well, because it's easy to think that, oh, people are just making it up, you know, it's people who have some kind of vested interest in, you know, Trump winning or something, you know, it's easy to not understand. But if you saw the debate live, then it's like, oh, wow, something is really happening. Yeah, the poor guy. So, you know, interesting stuff. Someone says hearts and thank you very much. Someone says, thank you, Janet. I like the force field idea. What would you look in details in the force field for chakras in order to speed the chakra fitting? Or would you still need to work within the chakras? Chakra fit more has to do with unblocking the chakras enough so that they fit in well with each other. The force field, the gold force field around, I mean, I suppose that could have an unblocking effect indirectly, but the main point of the gold force field, the main benefit of it would be so that they're less likely to get damaged. They would still get damaged, so don't, you know, go into denial and be like, me, I'm advanced. How could I possibly have damaged chakras today? You know? I check for chakra damage all the flipping time. Not all the, you know, but I mean, multiple times a day, of course. But it's, you train yourself, it's really quick. It's not like a thing. But yeah, so the force field is like gold buffer zones, you know, it just, it takes some of the force, you know, so the force doesn't get to the chakra and crack it or blow it up. So hope that makes sense. If you have a follow-up question about that, you could post it under the video, and I'll get to it when I have time. Hi, Janet. I did the clear conflict video a few times, and I do feel better and less intimidated by my neighbor and the HOA. Oh, that's good to know. Cool. Yeah. So she's referring to a video that I have. If you search Janet Wright clear conflict, I forget what it's called. It's something, but anyway, I have a buzz cut. Like my hair is like really, really short in that video. It wasn't the most flattering haircut for me at the time, but I mean, I think it's hard for people that really look good in a buzz cut. Some women could do that, you know, they have like the right face shape, but I did not at the time. But whatever. I did it because it was way too hot out. And I was just like, whatever. So I don't really regret it. Even though it was not the most attractive time period in my life. Anyway, but I'm glad the video helped. Yeah, it's Janet Wright conflict resolution. I think you'd find it that way. If people can't find it, just post under a video and I'll give you the link. But I'm glad it helped. The adjusting exercise made me feel validated. It's like I can move forward and still have my right to dislike something. Yeah, I think, yeah, well, because then you're disliking it, but you're not like chopping off your arm and your leg over it, you know, like by literally boycott, you know, significant parts of your energy system not entering your life over it. You know, it's like, it's a healthy way to not be totally happy about some aspect of your life, but you're not letting it harm you, that the protest. So yeah, I'm glad it made sense. Someone says, thank you so much. You're welcome very much. Thank you, Janet. And you're mentioning that you and the other people in your family I healed all feel very good. Well, good. That's nice to know. Thanks for the gorgeous flower emojis. Thank you so much for healing me. I feel less angry. It's still lingering, but optimistic. It will clear as my day goes. Yeah, and you can say, angels, help me work more on this if I need it. If whenever you feel like some significant relief from a healing, you could work it more yourself consciously when you have time and motivation, and maybe after I do the timestamp, so the next day. But you can also just angels, I think there's something legit here. Can we, if whatever I need more of on this one, can we do it, on the astral in my sleep? So that's good to hear. You said other things. You said, I also noticed I get uncomfortable when I get compliments. Okay. Yeah, there could be a lot of reasons to get uncomfortable when you get compliments. Sometimes maybe it triggers certain things in your space, or sometimes people are being invasive and they're courting when they compliment you. So either way, you could just clear the blocks that trigger when you get compliments. And clear blocks that get courted when you get compliments. A lot of people, they mean well, but they're, like I've called them invasive helpers, that kind of thing. They'll kind of jump in your space and be like, you're amazing, And it's like, oh, thank you, I can't breathe. All right. Someone says, thank you, Janet. You're welcome. Someone says, thank you, Janet. I was very in need of this healing. Well, I'm happy to help. All right. You guys are awesome. And I'll do a quick garden update and an Izzy cam. Okay, so garden update. There's not much. I haven't done much. I'm just keeping everything alive and moderately healthy. But as far as planting things, not making great strides on that. I have planted, 10 tomato plants and a little bit of basil, but I have so much that needs to be planted that it's pretty daunting. Part of it is I grew, as far as growing like the baby plants in the house before they go outside, I grew like easily like 5 times more than I need. Like maybe 3 times more than I need as far as tomatoes, but like 5 times more than I need as far as like basil and maybe twice as much as I need on some other things. So it's sort of a little intimidating. Like, whoa. So there's that. So but I am keeping everything alive and fairly happy, which is different from last year. Last year I planted way too much. I started way too many plants, and they weren't in big enough pots, so they couldn't handle the rough conditions on the porch, with all the sunlight and the wind and everything. And so they didn't do well as they were waiting to be planted. So that was like double trouble. But now they're all pretty happy and thriving. It's like, it looks like a nursery back there, except for the old stuff, like the stuff that I had in the winter indoors, like the kale is like, oh, are you serious? You still haven't planted me yet? And then the basil, that's old basil though. So I think it's sort of done with its useful life at this point anyway. But anyway, so so that's the garden update. Not much to report really. Little things, little baby steps, out in the garden. But that's the problem, is since I overseeded so many plants that even though I am making baby steps, it doesn't really look like I am, because there's like this army of plants waiting to be planted. So next year, that'll be my baby step improvement, is to not plant 10 times more than I need. So hopefully that will psychologically help a lot as well. Any other garden updates? Yeah, I did the compost. I have these compost containers, and 2 of them are like in the garden beds, which is new. And they're called geobins, GEOBIN, and it's just like a big black plastic thing with a lot of holes in it, and the bottom is open. So you put, whatever you're trying to compost in there, and then the worms can come in freely from the bottom, just from wherever they are and come in and down. So it improves the soil in the area as well and makes compost. And so that's what I did with fall leaves last fall. I had to go down the street to get fall leaves because all we have is evergreen trees pretty much on our property. So we don't get fall leaves on our property, which is funny because I grew up in New York State, and around a ton of deciduous trees. So to not have any fall leaves is like the oddest thing ever. But anyway, so I can go down the street to get some. I figured that out. But anyway, so and next fall I'm going to be so ready, like this coming fall, because I bought this mulcher vacuum cleaner thing that it's a leaf blower mulcher vacuum thing. So like you can blow the leaves into a pile and then you suck them up and they get mulched into a bag. So then they're like broken down better. Oh my God. So then next spring, I'm going to have the best compost ever. So that's really exciting. But anyway, the compost that I was able to make with leaves that were not ground up is still pretty decent actually. So that's kind of a success. I'm just starting to use that in the garden. I haven't been that good in past years with like composting everything, and getting enough compost for all my garden beds and yada yada. So I'm kind of a newbie on that. So I did make a baby step with that this year. That's exciting. So anyway, that's enough for gardening. And of course the heat wave is coming. So like starting today, and then Saturday and Sunday is supposed to be the hottest, but then like next week doesn't even cool down that fast. It's like a gradual cool down. So pretty much all next week it's going to be basically too hot to plant things most of the day, even if I wanted to, even if I had time and energy. So whatever. So I'll just be watering things and keeping everything alive. So that's the garden update. And then Izzy and Smokey update. Lorenzo and I took them both to the vet for checkups. Because we only have 2 pets now because, senior pets eventually, it's their time and they go and now they're in spirit form only and they're happy and they hang out with us in spirit form all the time. So that's okay. But anyway, so in the body, we only have 2 pets, which is so wild. I mean, last time I had only 2 pets was when Lorenzo met me 21 years ago. Right after he met me, when he met me, I had no pets, but then I trapped 2 different cats within like 6 months that were, roaming outside. And then, so then I had 2 pets. But, it's been 2 decades since I've had 2 pets only. So anyway, so we took our whole family to the vet in one visit because we only have 2 pets. And the vet was it was the best vet visit we've had since we've been in Washington State. We used to have a really good vet in Chicago. We didn't know how good he was until we came here, and there's a lot of trial and error, let's say, with vets. But anyway, so that went okay. But then Izzy, he freaks out because of the fireworks and yada yada. So not to go into all those details, but slight pet drama with Izzy since then. But today he's pretty happy, and he looks adorable. So I want to show you that. So that's the carrier, that blue carrier on the ground. That's the carrier that we brought Smokey to the vet in. But I left it on the ground, and it turns out that Izzy likes being in there, even though he can barely fit in there. And there are 2 big towels in there, and he just he mushes the towels around and he just squeezes himself in there, and it's pretty cute. So we've let him do it because the fireworks, you know, are all this weekend, and you know, so anything that comforts him is worth it. And then that's that little blue thing in front of the carrier. That's his little duck. It's like this crinkly duck. It makes this crinkling sound, and we throw it around for him. It's really cute. He'll like come to us with it in his mouth so that we throw it for him. And then Izzy is Smokey is up there on that little cat tree. He's sleeping. He's all black. So he's like if you look at the top pillow, and then he's right there. That's Smokey. There, he's having a nap. Fingers shaking. Anyway, that's Smokey. So anyway, now you saw them. They're both sleeping. So it's not very exciting. All right. So you guys are amazing. Congratulations for even contemplating the fact that you could enjoy simple pleasures more in your life. That's a good thing. Awareness is always the first step. All right. So bye. Next healing is in 2 days on Sunday, and then Tuesday is the third healing of the set. And then the twins. Oh, and I do have a news thing, which I probably should have said at the start, but sorry about that. August twin set healings on sale now. So there are, I think at the start of the live stream, there were 7 spots left for the August twin set. So if you want one of them for yourself, or you want one of them for like a sibling or a parent or something, even if consciously you think they would freak out if you talk to them consciously about it, I can ask their spirit on a subconscious level. And that's like a bigger part of everybody, is the subconscious part of your spirit. And it's also, fortunately, a more evolved part. So if that part of the person is like, yeah, I want the healing, you know, if I describe it to them and they're like, yeah, please, then that's enough consent for me, you know, their spirit level consent. So I can heal your parent, your sibling, whatever. You would just buy a spot for them if you wish. And the theme for August, I don't remember what it is, but it's cool. Yeah, I don't remember. It's on my website. Suppose I could try to look it up. See, if you go to my website, and then there's a little plus sign on the upper right corner if you're on a cell phone. New purchase page. August twin set. Oh, yeah. Be a spiritual badass, including intuition, self-diagnosis, efficient self-healing, presence, clear mind, and positivity. Gosh, you can't get better than that. That is cool. Yeah, so if you or someone in your life needs a little extra help on that, now is your chance. And yes, you could do both sets. Sometimes lately I'll put the same theme for both sets, and a lot of people that only buy one of the sets because they'll be like, well, I already did that. I'm doing the triplets, so why would I do both? You know, it's up to you. But I mean, obviously, if you're trying to save money, then yeah, it makes sense to do just one if you need to save money. But if you can afford to do both and you just want to work the theme even more, then of course, you're very welcome to do both. Most people do both, actually, that do them. But if you want to just do one, that's totally cool too. Your choice. All right. So, and my website is jwhealing.com. Oh, and I never mentioned the price, but it's on my website. It's sliding scale. So if you can afford the standard rate, then please pay it. $50 US for the set of 2 healings. If you can't afford the standard rate, then there are lower rates, and you choose the one that's affordable for you. Okay. All right. Good enough. You're amazing. Have a good day, morning, afternoon, evening, whatever. You're the best. Bye.